Hey Wargamers, it's Friday, April 1st, 2016, and this is what's on the table. First off, I just want to point out this is not an April Fool's episode, it just happens to be coming out on April 1st. There's nothing stupid or gimmicky or flat out lying in this episode. This is just a normal episode on the April 1st, not April Fool's. Anyway, I have not released a new episode in about 3 weeks, and that may have disappointed some of you. Some of you may not have even noticed, I hope you did. But the reason for that is pretty solid. My fiance's job has now required her to have a home office, and the most suitable room for that was the one I was set up in as my painting studio. So back in the early winter, we had started construction on a space in my basement here, and we sort of rushed getting it done for the last 3 weeks, which is why I really haven't painted anything, really haven't posted anything, because I've been working on this room instead. It's not exactly where I want it. I still want to do some built-in desks and some stuff like that, but the room is now solid. It's soundproofed on one side. It has a door, has floors, has walls, has some lighting, so it's most of the things a room needs to be. So more importantly, it's a little more private. Before, my painting studio was literally right next to our master bedroom, and my fiance is a fairly light sleeper, and what that meant is I couldn't be live streaming after, say, 9 p.m. I couldn't be playing video games without a headset on, and I couldn't be running my air compressor after about 9 p.m. so I couldn't do any airbrushing basically in the evenings. And most of my painting time is from about 9 p.m. to midnight, so it really kind of limited some of the things I did. I am now a floor below and the complete opposite end of the house, so that's no longer a problem. So I'm going to get a lot more airbrushing done, and I can actually start resuming doing live streams again. I just want to give you a quick tour of the room and kind of discuss the plans for it, then I'll get into what's actually on the table. Alright, so coming into the room, there's just some shelves on the right holding random stuff, models, boxes of flock, etc., etc. Walls, walls, walls. You know, the things you expect in a room. So random Rubbermaid containers full of different models. Garbage can, because you need one of those. Another set of shelves. I'm still in the process of unpacking, so this one just has some paint on it right now. This is actually a spare cabinet the previous owners of the house left behind, and I figured, hey, why not? Let's throw it up there. My full bookshelf, which is pretty random in what's on it. The whole top shelf is pretty much Jim Butcher. All sorts of random textbooks. Here I've got pretty much all gaming manuals. This is mostly like drafting, paper, etc. It's just all over the place. A couple collector's boxes from video games. My PC desk, so there's the machine. And it's now doubling as my painting desk. It used to be that I painted entirely on this white one. I kind of reconfigured the room, so this is what I'm doing now. Painting area, and this means I can keep an eye on myself, so basically the camera feeds to that monitor there, so I can always tell if I'm in frame while I'm painting. And then there's a desk beside me to hold paints and so on, and this is actually where the camera mounts. So what you'll see is the view from right about here, which means you're now looking over my right shoulder. My videos before were always over my left shoulder, and the problem with my left shoulder is that I'm right-handed, or at least predominantly right-handed. I am actually ambidextrous. But I mostly paint with my right hand, and what that meant is you were mostly looking away from the model as I painted it, because it was tilted towards my right hand and you're looking over my left shoulder. So you didn't see as much detail as you could have, so hopefully just literally by having the camera over here, my painting videos will get a little bit better. And here's my PC graveyard. I've got to basically just go through and clean the hard drives off and donate them or whatever I'm going to do with them. And the aforementioned shelf full of stuff. See some, you know, Horus Heresy boxes and so on up at the top, and just keeps going and going. Also, the centerpiece of the room is the Death Star lamp from IKEA. So named because I think you get the picture. One of my future projects will be to take this and paint it. I probably want to actually drill tiny little holes in it so it kind of looks like a lit up Death Star from the inside, and explodes into an exploding Death Star when not being used. So things that aren't done in the room, you'll notice right now the ceiling is still bare rafters and there's still a beam across here. Eventually I'll be putting an acoustic ceiling in to help with the soundproofing. This wall here is actually not finished on the other side. It's just one sheet of drywall right now, so there's no soundproofing there. And that's a little bit of a problem because the furnace is actually right here. So it does mean when the furnace is running, this room can actually get pretty loud. There's also, you can't really see it here, but back behind the desk, that's actually our water main shutoff for the house. So that's going to be a little bit different in the future. What's going to happen is this wall is going to actually be where the desk all ends up by the time I'm done. There's actually a run plumbing right up to the outside of this wall. I just haven't punched through yet. So I'm actually going to have a small prep sink here in the corner where I can wash miniatures and wash my brushes and so on. And then basically a full height pantry right here beside it just to store flock and glue and paint and whatnot in. So cabinet all in the corner. An open area here for the desk to actually sit at. And then In the corner will be more cabinets, space for my computer and so on underneath. Then this whole wall, it's actually painted a different color, and the reason for that is this whole wall is going to be display case. So covering up the water meter, there'll be a small IKEA cabinet, and I'm going to build that all the way up the side, so that'll be more storage. Cabinets along the wall, and above that will be shelving. Lighting also right now is pretty much temporary, except for the Death Star lamp. Like this right now is just a single bulb fixture, and there's also a single bulb fixture up here. Once the drop ceiling is in, this is going to actually be wired to a track light system around, so I can reposition them when I want to. And this is going to be several pot lights pointing down on the glass shelves. But the room is usable as it is now, so that's a nice step forward, and that means I can get back into full swing video production, actually even a little bit more than I used to before, because I can work a little bit later into the evenings now without disturbing people. So that's pretty awesome. All right, let's see what's actually on the table. So first things first, this White Scars Commander got shipped off to the client about 3 weeks ago now, and I'm just finally getting around to updating you guys about it. I also filmed that miniature while I was painting it, and the first part of that tutorial is up online now. The Dark Age commission I had started isn't quite done yet, simply because I got sidetracked building this room as a bit of an emergency. So it just has the tiny little bit of work left to go on it that it had last time, and I'm hoping to knock that out this weekend. And then get this guy off to his client as well, who happens to be at Adepticon right now, lucky guy. All of the Infinity miniatures I showed you in my last video that I was hoping to have painted within a week or so clearly aren't done either, because basically the day after I started doing that, room construction got into full swing and I just haven't picked them back up yet. So they're here sitting on the shelf completely undone. I did finish 2 miniatures last night, finally. So I decided with my gaming pieces, I want to start kind of focusing on my low-hanging fruit. And what I mean by that is the games that I can start playing with the minimum number of pieces to get there. Guild Ball is really what stood out for me there, because I only need 3 models to have a finished Guild Ball team. So I started painting them up. I've got now Kraken and Grayscales are both fully primed and ready to go. And I actually finished painting Salt last night, who's the team mascot, who's the little tiny white otter here. I was also only 4 miniatures away from having all my Brood stuff for Dark Age painted, so I painted a Lasher last night. And the second Lasher, they come in a pack of 2, he's just a few steps behind. Both models include tactical wreckage, which I mean there's actually some part of a building or whatever built into the model. And so far all my Brood stuff have been based as if it was on a swamp, and this kind of takes away from that, but I made it work. It's just a piece of broken building surrounded by bits of wood and detritus, and then I'll work in the sort of water effects around that afterwards. It's going to look a little different than the rest of the models, but it's not going to stand out too much. The other Lasher actually has the same thing, and it's actually a much larger piece of building, so at least there's some theme between them. That's really all I've painted in the last couple weeks, is these 2 miniatures and 2 commissions, because everything else has been literally painting the walls in this room. So I'm hoping in the next week to finish up my Guild Ball team, which will be Kraken and Grayscales. If I get them done, I'm also going to finish the next 3 miniatures for my Brood, and I'm not planning to head past that, because that's may or may not be all I get done. More importantly, I want to start getting caught up on my video production. I do have a lot of videos recorded that I just haven't had time to sit down and edit, and so I'm hoping a few nights this week I'll go ahead and get that done. Let me know in the comments below what's on your table, what you're working on this coming week, if there's any questions you have, or if there's any videos you're just dying to see. Thanks again for watching, and as always, do something epic. Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you liked that one, why don't you check out some battle reports right over here, or check out more epic hobby content right over here. If you really like what I'm doing and want to support my creative efforts, I really urge you to become one of my supporters on Patreon. You can find out more about that right here.